Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cultured Corner, and we are live again for another wasted workshop. And today I'm going to be talking about Limerance. I did previously do a live on Limerance, but my phone bugged out at the end, and so it didn't save, so I couldn't repost it. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be going through today. I'm going to introduce Cultured Waste again for anyone who's new here, whether you are joining us on the live or watching the repost on YouTube. Cultured Waste is a waste bead company that encourages emotional healing through self-love, body positivity, and confidence so that we can show up to our lives in a way that is true to ourselves. The Wasted Workshop is an opportunity for us to slow down and sit with our emotions and really be intentional about focusing on how we feel about ourselves. Because what I was going to say is being intentional about how we feel about ourselves, which is actually the fact. But I think a lot of the conversation right now, especially in the healing space, is that you're supposed to feel this way. And the workshop isn't like a thing of you have to be. It's about finding where you are now. How do you feel about yourself? And it's okay if you have insecurities. It's okay if you're experiencing negative self-talk. It's okay if you're like quite hard on yourself, because it's just not the end of the world. Like, I'm not saying that you should stay like that. It's definitely not healthy, but don't beat yourself for being in that position in the first place. Like, I think there's a lot of things that make you feel like you have to already know. You have to start in the best position, and oftentimes or not, we're not starting in the best position. And then even if we are, things are going to happen that are going to make us feel differently about ourselves. And it's just about being able to sit and be like, what is actually truth and what just feels like the truth, and decipher between those two things. So that is the Waste Bead Workshop. We actually have 2 workshops running on the 17th of, I nearly said February, then I nearly said January, and it's definitely April. So we have 2 workshops running on the 17th of April. We have an afternoon session and an evening session in case of your accessibility. So the afternoon session is 1 till 4, and the evening session is 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. We are going to be in North London, so make sure you get your tickets on Eventbrite. They are £24. And yeah, the next thing is, obviously this live, I'm going to be talking about Limerance and my experience with it. We also have not a podcast. We have a blog post about it written by Essie, a member of my team who's also an amazing creative. And we have some new beads out on our Pinterest as well, so you can go and check out all of that stuff. I'm gonna start prepping to make one of my orders. Big up Alexis has been messing with me since 2020, so I really appreciate her getting new beads. And she's kind of leveled up the business a little bit, because I only offer right now elastic waist beads, but she said that she really likes the string ones. So on Etsy and on TikTok shop, I'm gonna make sure that you guys can choose if you want string or if you want elastic. Obviously string is not stretchy, and both of them will come with a clasp that you can adjust anyway, so it's not too bad. We're gonna double this up. Actually, let's do that a little bit more. We're gonna double this up, then knot it at both ends, and then start making our bead. So, do I want to do it at the bottom first? Yes, actually, that makes sense. Oh no, do I want to do it at the top? Yeah, let's do it at the top. Cool. So, speaking about Limerance is it's like, you could mistake Limerance for love. You can think that you're in love with someone and you're actually in Limerance. I always say it as, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, it's most likely that you're in Limerance, because it creates this obsession around the person that makes you put them on a pedestal. And not in a way to say that they're better than you. Sometimes it might be that. It depends on how confident you are in yourself. But sometimes it's just like, I really want to be with that person. And it might seem secure, but it's often an insecure attachment. And so I'm going to talk about how Limerance can be impacted or healed by self-love, through self-love, body positivity, and confidence. And I'm also going to share my experiences with those, because I had to learn the hard way. But it means that I can come and tell you about it now. So grateful. Very grateful. It was painful, but I'm grateful. The first thing we're going to go through is self-love. But before we do that, and in between each one, I'm going to pull an affirmation card. And if anyone wants to engage in the giveaway, we actually have some prizes. Oh, those are not prizes. Those are business cards. We have some prizes on the back that you can win when I pull. So, to start the reading off, this deck is more like appreciation of self, like little words of encouragement and things like that. Almost like a cheerleading deck. Great working with you. I like that. Especially now where I feel like I'm bumping heads a lot with people. And I think it's just because I'm trying to be so serious. Like I'm trying to be so serious. But yeah, I've been messed over before, seriously, in business, and I don't want that to happen again. But at the same time, I can't move around like a triggered cat. So, yeah, self-love. Self-love is about the ability to choose yourself. It's about being able to figure out or just understand what it is that you actually want. And that doesn't mean that to love yourself, you always have to be selfish. I'm not being funny. For a lot of women, you can't. And I don't mean that you can't be selfish, but there's going to be times where it's like, I know what I want to do, but it's not an option right now because I have a child, I have a responsibility. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't acknowledge what you want to do, because getting into the habit of at least knowing like your position in something, it will help you both to start putting yourself first if you're not used to that, but then it will also help you like to understand what energy you're in when you're doing something. For example, with the children thing, if you wanted to take a rest day but your child has fallen sick and you have to take them to the hospital or something like that, you know in that moment, okay, I really did want to rest right now, but I can't. But I know that I'm going to acknowledge the fact that I wanted to rest, so that when we go, I'm not overextending myself and all of these things, because I'm aware of the fact that I'm already tired. And that is what it means to love yourself, because you're looking out for you while still showing up to your responsibilities. Like, I think a lot of people go on the far end of either side of, well, I can't because people rely on me, and then on the other end of, well, I'm loving myself, so I don't need to do or think about anyone else. And yeah, just finding that middle ground. I feel like I did it wrong. I should have tied the other end, but it's good. This is a learning process. Because this end is like a hoop and this end is split open, it's kind of playing with how the beads fall on, but it's alright. It's not the worst, you know. It's not going to mess up the bead or anything, but I just want to make sure that it's in there properly. Cool. So that is what the concept of self-love is. And when we think about self-love and limerance, it's about, hi Tanya! I did not see you there. Oh, I'm actually going to see you, I was going to say later, but probably tomorrow. Yeah. What was I going to say? The ability to choose yourself. And so when you're in limerance with someone and you have this obsession of being with them, you are more likely to not choose yourself because you want to be with them. And if that person is has narcissistic traits, or if they have an unhealthy approach to relationships, then they can very much get into this space of using you because they know that you want to. And so I put, like, the thing that they'll do is they'll push past your boundaries and they'll guilt trip you a lot, because it's like they ask you to do something and you say no out of self-love because you know that it's not something that you want to do, and you'll hear, oh, don't you love me? Or I would do this for you, or anything like that that makes you feel like, oh, I kind of have to do this. And if that person isn't willing to respect your boundaries or even listen to you and find a compromise, let's say the thing is unavoidable, because there's always going to be compromise to be made in relationships, don't get twisted. But if they're not willing to compromise, and if it is just about what they want all of the time and they don't even reciprocate that energy back, then you'll kind of be able to recognize, I don't think this is love, I think this is limerence. I think that I really want to be with my partner and they are aware of that and they're using that against me, and that can be really dangerous. And so I'm going to share an example with each of these of how I experienced it. And I had none of these men were my boyfriends, because we never actually did the official da-da-da-da-da. But if I'm gonna not be immature, then my ex-boyfriend, we were living together. Like, he'd moved into my uni room, essentially. And he was shotting weed out of my room. And so one day he was bagging up and someone was downstairs waiting to meet him. And he's like, oh, can you go and meet them for me? And I said, no, I don't do that stuff anymore. Because he when I'd met him, I was doing that stuff. But I wasn't doing it anymore. And I was volunteering and taking uni serious and my business and all of these things. And so he asked me to go downstairs. And I said, no, what are you talking about? I do community work. Like, it could be anyone down there. You're trying to ruin my life. And he was like, you used to do stuff with the mandem, so why can't you do this for me? And da-da-da-da-da. And in that moment, it actually got to me, because I was like, in my head, I was going through the conversation of, first of all, I didn't just do stuff with the mandem. I was getting paid. Like, it was a job, essentially. So it's not like I was just a really nice girl who would just go and do stuff for you because of the sake of it. Like, let's be honest, I was risking my freedom. So I'm not really just about to go and do that for anyone for any reason. And then on top of that, it's like, you're making the choice to do that. And I'm saying, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't do that anymore. The only reason why I'm still around it is because you're here. And obviously I didn't have the confidence to say anything like that to him at the time. So we scuffled about it for a few minutes. And then I will never forget this day, I got dressed to go. I think I had like black leggings on, this black puffer jacket, a black face mask. I pulled my hood on so that you couldn't see my face and all of those things, because, again, I didn't want to be associated with it. And not because of, like, it wasn't even shame. It was like a part of me that's like, I've outgrown this. This isn't me. The hell? I'm a project coordinator, about to graduate quantity surveying, commercial management. I've been running my business for like 3 years by that point. And it's like, why am I going to hit a £10 shot? But because he was my partner, I allowed that to be the thing. And it's like they have this mindset of, because we're together, you owe me this. And that's not true. Oh my gosh. And I think the huge one is that men do that a lot with relationships. So I saw a post the other day from Candice in America. I don't remember her surname, but she has a book, the Remember Who the F You Are. And someone basically said to her, because she was talking about fasting from sex with your partner, and someone said they're trying to do it with their partner, but their partner keeps on saying, oh yeah, by the way, we're making a Jamaica waist bead. But their partner keeps on saying, oh, why should I not be having sex if I have a woman? Having a woman doesn't guarantee that you have sex. She still has authority over her body to say yes or no. But a lot of people don't think of it like that. A lot of people just feel entitled. And so oftentimes or not, they'll give you the title so that they have rights to the benefits. But even with the title, you're still a human who can say, I don't want this right now. And that's the process of like learning to honor yourself even within your responsibilities, because that's always what I worry about, like doing lives like this, or just talking about stuff like this. Of, what about all the people who feel like they can't leave their situation? You can still create change within it. Sometimes that can be dangerous. If it's dangerous, then you need to get away. But if not, if your partner actually respects you and is actually like not worried about losing you from a selfish place, but from I actually want this woman to be with me and I want her to be happy, then they'll listen to you and they'll hear what your boundaries are. They'll be able to understand, oh, this is not the time for this right now. Because that's what happened to me with this guy that I was speaking to, where I'd spoken to him about my abuse, and he claimed to understand, and repeatedly he showed me that he didn't. First from a moment when I was triggered during sex, and then he said, oh, well, that's not my fault. And then to another moment where I told him I'm not in the mood right now. Like, and when I'm not in the mood, because of my abuse, or maybe just in general, I don't know if I hadn't experienced sex abuse, I would be like this, but because of my abuse, when I'm not in the mood for that, don't touch me. Especially not sexually. Like, maybe hug me or something, because I might be sad and just being defensive. But don't touch me. I told this guy I'm not in the mood. Why is he rubbing his on my leg? And I had to move, like, over to another area in the room and sleep on the couch. Because I was just like, you're not listening to me. But you feel entitled to it because I'm here and I'm in your space. It's just sickening. But yeah, that is how self-love and limerence kind of intertwine. And I think it is this thing of, if you don't love yourself, you can't love someone else anyway. So oftentimes, or not, when we're in limerence, we're not actually loving our partners, we're just serving them, because we feel like we have to do this to keep them, as opposed to doing things out of what we're willing to give. And again, if your partner has narcissistic traits, is a narcissist, or is manipulative in any way, then they will use that to get what they want. And that's how you see people who have been in relationships for ages and they're just not happy. And yeah, I'm gonna move on to the next one now, and I'm gonna pull another affirmation card just to keep the energy quite light. Maybe I should pull from the Bed B affirmations deck instead. Actually, I'll do that at the end. So I'll pull from these ones for now, and then at the end I will grab the Bad B affirmations and we'll pull from there. Cool. So this card says, you are on fire. We love that. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. Oh, everybody stares as she goes by, 'cause they can see the light that's in her eyes. Walking around another night. Nobody knows that she's a lonely girl, and it's a lonely world. But she gon' let it burn, baby, burn, baby. Okay, I got a bit carried away. But I like that affirmation and I'm grateful. So the next thing that we are going to talk about in regards to limerence is how limerence can be a side effect of low self-esteem, especially when it comes to body positivity. So body positivity isn't just about how your body looks and like how it feels like it. No. Yeah, sorry. Body positivity isn't just about your surface level appearance. It's about how you feel about who you are and feeling good enough as you are. And that could be physically in terms of your appearance, that can be mentally in terms of your mindset, that can be emotionally in terms of your sense of security, that could be financially in terms of your position. It could be in any way, but just as long as you feel enough within yourselves. And I'll be honest, a lot of us are not taught how to do that. A lot of us are taught to value our appearance as our worthiness and where we get our self-esteem from. And so when we get into these relationships, we don't realize that this person, yeah, they might like us for our appearance, but we've based all our worth and value on it. But they don't appreciate our mindset, and so they dismiss everything that we say. They don't take our, not just our opinion into value, but like what we want. Because a relationship is a two-way thing, especially if it's at the stages of marriage and moving in together. It affects two people, but a lot of men feel like they're in charge, and they have to lead the way, which is why over time, as women have gained more rights, we're allowed to work, we get more equal pay. Obviously there's still work to be done, of course, but as we're getting to be more independent, if you get into a relationship with a man who previously felt like, well, I'm paying for everything, so my role's my house, where they have to compromise, it's like, it becomes uncomfortable, and it becomes, you're not allowing me to lead, and it becomes this and it becomes that, and it's like, no, I just feel like I deserve what I want as well. I deserve to be comfortable in my own home. I deserve to have things that are for me and for you, to do things that are for me and for you. For a lot of people, they don't know, they haven't done the things that they want to do for themselves, or even just engaged in hobbies and things like that for years, because they've been in service to their partner, and their partner doesn't value them as an individual, they value them as a woman. And so it's not about who you are and what you like, it's about what a woman is supposed to be and what she's supposed to do. And so in that situation, when you're in limerence, they use shame a lot. They'll make you feel bad about yourself. So in the first example with the self-love, it's like your partner asks you to do something and you say no, and they say, oh, but I'm your partner. Cool, that doesn't work. Okay, you're my partner. What does that mean? They would then go into the body positivity, or not necessarily that it goes in any order, but in body positivity, it's more that they will make you feel like you're not good enough. Oh, what kind of wife are you then? What kind of person are you? Oh my God, this is where religious gaslighting comes into it a lot. And I say I've experienced that many a times, because it's like, God says that you're supposed to. Coming from a man who does not follow the book at all, which is why in her sacrifice I said, what did I say? Something like, you say that you're living by the book, but deep down inside you're just an effing crook. Because I'm not being funny, they manipulate it to get what they want. They only use the holy text in context of control. I know a man who beats on his wife, who tells her children that her life is in his hands, and then tells her, well, Islam says that you have to stay with me and you're not allowed to fight back and all of these things. And she believes it. And I can't judge her for it. I can't even contemplate, because I know how important God is to her. And because I value like my relationship with God in the same way, obviously I'm not religious, so I will ask questions and things like that. Whereas with the way that she's been raised in her religion, it's one set way and you're not allowed to ask questions. So if your husband has told you this thing and that's what the majority says, then that's what you listen to, and you stay in this abusive cycle for ages. And it impacts your health, it impacts you in so many ways. And then on top of not feeling good about yourself already, this person's now making you feel worse, and this is where you can start isolating yourself and just feel like no one really understands. Because if anyone does come in and say, hey, this is not right, it makes you, it puts you in that uncomfortable spot, because you don't feel like you can leave. You don't feel like you haven't been told that that's a right that you have. You've been told that if you do, God is going to punish you. And so you stay in that relationship, which is more of a punishment, whereas God would rather have you healthy, have you happy, and have you safe. So yeah, I'd say my example of this, of being in limerence because of low body positivity, was me trying to prove myself to someone that I'm good enough. And it's like, through little things that he said and did, whether it was like comparing us, whether it was like belittling me, whether it was, I think it was really about like other people and what they had to say. There was a lot of rumors flying around and and I think I did a lot to try and show him that that wasn't true about me. But he wasn't there to listen and find out the truth about me, to find out if he can trust me and all of these things. He was playing a game of how it made him look. It gives men a sense of power and superiority when women are after them. They use it to show off, and they use it to say this and say, oh, well, women are just obsessive and all of these things. And it wasn't until I realized, like, I'm trying to bridge the gap in communication of, like, I already have an insecurity here. And that's the thing as well. Insecurities are natural. You don't have to be perfect to be in a relationship. You have to be with someone who's willing to meet you where you are and be patient with you as you work on the things that need strengthening. So I was trying to communicate my insecurities to that partner, and they wasn't listening. They was using those insecurities as, okay, this is where I can poke her and make her feel bad about herself because she already feels low in that space. And I think it was really horrible because one of the things that I was really insecure about was sex because of my past and abuse in my family and things like that. And then all these rumors started flying around about my sexual activity. And it's so funny because at the time I was completely celibate, not speaking to anyone. I hadn't spoken to anyone in a hot sec since the ex that bullied me into hitting his shot. And I was like, I felt like it had come between me and my partner, but it was more that he'd used it as a tool to build up his bravado to the mandem. So, yeah. If you do not feel good within yourself, you can set up your esteem on someone else. And there's men who do this. There's guys who, I saw a video, I don't remember if it was an ad or if it was a reel that came up about how to set someone's self-esteem up on you. And this is actually what they do in marketing, which is why I started not in personal, because it was like, I don't want to manipulate people in order for them to shop with me. I'm not trying to sell you a dream. I actually have something that I've created out of purpose. And so if that purpose is not serving you, you don't need to buy it. That's just simple as, like, I'm not into the overconsumption and da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da. And so I don't try and do that to people. But with the body positivity and like that narcissistic partner making you feel like you're not good enough, it is also because they don't feel good enough. And so they get their self-worth off of you feeling low about yourself. And that's where you meet a lot of sadists. And I'm not going to lie, it happens not just in romantic relationships. It happens in platonic ones and family relationships as well. It just happened to me with my grandma, where I didn't realize all of this time where I wasn't feeling good about myself, and I kept on trying to form some kind of connection with them and even help them with what they've been doing. I was helping my grandma with her charity since I was like 8. In that moment where I'm asking her, or I'm expressing to her how painful it was that over these last 10 years, since I've become independent, so since the first time I got left by myself, they never really spoke to me. They didn't check on me. There was so many different things going on with my abuse and me telling them about certain things that happened. There was like financial struggle, and they knew about that. And then there was just general, like, me kind of having a hard time and not feeling okay, which they knew because they saw it online. And she was getting calls from other people saying, why is Ebony talking about this stuff online? But she still didn't check on me. And when I had that conversation with her and I was crying, she was laughing at me. And in that moment, I realized Ebony, she doesn't want to know me. She doesn't care about how I feel and want to work and build on our relationship. She finds this absolutely hilarious because she's been telling me this story of how it's hard for women to do things on their own for years. And now she sees me going through that hardship. It's funny. That shows me that she isn't confident in herself. And I'm not gonna lie, she is someone who I've seen compromise herself over the years. When I was younger, I thought she was one of the strongest people ever. And over the years, I just seen her, like, play weak so that she can get certain things. And so I just try not to take it personally. I cried a lot, but that's what creates a sadist. Like, they get happy off of people being sad. And if you're with a partner like that, or if you're in a dynamic with someone like that, they're gonna try and trigger you to be sad. One of the other things she did as well, she said, I was leaving. She said, let me give you £20 for travel. I said, I don't want anything from you. And she started laughing and she said, what's your problem? I said, I don't want a big friend from you guys anymore. And she said, oh, Ebony, what are you talking about? I didn't even tell anyone that you asked me for money. I don't even tell anyone that you asked me for money, she said. And I said, I don't give a... I said, sorry, my emotions are still there, clearly. I said, I don't give a F what you tell people or not. Even if you told people that I asked you for money, tell them. I needed help and I went to my family. What's wrong with that? Why would I be ashamed? Yeah. So that was weird. But yeah, it's that thing of trying to prove my worth. And so I would go there and I would tell them, oh, this is going on and this is going on. But the funniest thing is, this time I didn't do that because I've stopped doing that. She brought it up. She asked me, oh, are you still doing the waist beads? I said, yeah. Then she said, oh, yeah, I seen it on Facebook. So if you seen it, why are you asking? And you still don't share it and promote it. So, yeah. That is how you can be in limerence if you don't feel good enough about yourself. You will accept these breadcrumbs from people. And then when you want more, when you want to set a boundary, they'll make you feel bad about yourself. And if you don't have the ability to support yourself in that moment and say what they're saying about me is not true, then they can keep you in that repetitive abusive loop. I am going to pull another card and then we're going to talk about confidence and we will sum up the live. The bead is going well. I'll show you guys so far. This is what we got, our Jamaica bead for Alexis. Oh, as soon as I say it's going well, look, it tries to get tangled. Cool. Oh. Okay. This is actually quite complex, but it's because it's double stringed. I think this is the most difficult time I've had making a waist bead in 6 years. But that's all right, you know? Not everything is just easy. And I think I needed a challenge. I was supposed to go to a guitar lesson on Tuesday, but I didn't go because I was scared. Actually, I wasn't scared. I let someone put me off of it. And this is actually perfect because we're going to talk about confidence next. So I was talking to my brother about... like how I'm new in music, and he was saying like, if I wanted, he didn't say me, we were saying it in general, if you wanted to learn an instrument in your 20s, you're not going to have the same skill level as someone who started learning when they was like 3. And I was trying to say to him, I hear you, but there's also the fact that it's in my lineage. Like our granddad used to travel, no, not our granddad, our great granddad used to travel around the villages and play guitar and do sing folklore. And so it's like I feel like I pick up things a little bit easier because of my lineage. And he was saying like it's not hereditary and da-da-da-da. Obviously he's very like, my brother's very logical. What is in front of him he will believe. And he's a little bit pessimistic. So I think that made me feel like, oh, why would I pick up a guitar now? Or it's just too long. It's going to take too long for me to learn and all of these things. But at the end of the day, if I want to learn guitar and I know that that's for me, and it's not just because I want to learn it, I want to learn so that I can play and perform with my guitar. It's like, I have to trust and believe in that. No one else can tell me whether or not I can do it. Whether it's my brother just having a genuine discussion and debate with me, or whether it's like a professional who is trying to say that I'm never going to be good, or whether it's I don't know, there's just different people who are going to have different things to say, and it's about not listening to them. So, yeah. Let me do that affirmation so that we can get into the discussion. don't forget that if you wear prescribed glasses, but you want some style or you just want to change it up a little bit, you can use my code on Firmo to get 50% off all of their frames. It's Omolara 50. I got these glasses from them. Obviously, they got a colourful rim. They got some hearts on the side. And I got some other ones as well. So yeah, check those out. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. We are going to take this one. I appreciate you. I appreciate myself too. Like, today I was literally saying to myself how hard it's been to grow. The things that I've had to come to terms with, the things that I'm like thinking about or sitting with at the moment. And it's like, I said to myself that I have to do it though, because there's stuff that I want to do, so I have to do that in a work. And it's like, just because I feel like I have to, it doesn't mean that I still can't celebrate myself for doing it, because not everybody is. Not everybody who's in business feels like, oh, let me do that in a work so that I can actually make sure I leave a positive impact. Not everybody feels like that's something you have to do. And the example I want to give is, there's a Tyson Fury interview that I just saw where he's talking to this kid, and the kid is like, what do you think about legacy? And he's like, I don't care about legacy. Like, why do I want to care about how people think about me when I'm dying or dead? That's it. And it was quite morbid. And I understood what he was saying from a realist perspective, like with my brother. But on the other side of that, it's like, okay, I have my own personal theory there where he blew up out of fighting, right? But he started fighting because he had to defend himself. He was training pigeons and someone stole his pigeons, so they messed with something that he loved. And he had to learn this world is not a nice world. So when it comes to thinking about legacy and impact, he's not thinking about how he's going to help people, because he's only experienced hurt. And a lot of people can be in that space, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because at the end of the day, he's not built something that is like, there's some people who get to that space of saying, I don't want to leave a legacy, I don't care, and then they go and manipulate and exploit people. So there's like the stages of it. You experience adversity, you either then go and create more trauma for other people, hurt people. You either shut down completely and just become isolated and selfish, which, it's not the worst, but it's not the best either. And then the last one is that you heal it and you actually help other people who go through that thing so that change can happen. Because the point is that if it happened to you, it can happen to someone else. And if you call yourself a leader, then the point is, okay, how do I make sure this doesn't happen for other people around me? And that's why I went into business. But yeah, that all came off the back of the appreciation card. Now we're going to talk about confidence, which I kind of already started touching on. But the concept of confidence here is that you have trust and faith that what is for you will never miss you. So even in a moment, if you feel like you're lacking something, it's like trust and belief that everything is working out in your favor. And so you don't have to compromise yourself in unhealthy ways or in sabotaging ways in order to get that thing that you seek or desire. And so if you are in limerance with someone, they will play on your insecurities, and it will make you doubt yourself, and you will start to question the reality of, do I actually have this need? Is it actually important? Or whether or not your need is being met. Like, for example, you can ask someone to, this is the perfect example, yeah. This guy that I was speaking to, he came to Cov and we were talking about food, and I said, I got spinach pasta at home. Obviously, I don't really cook meat like that. And he said, oh yeah, it's calm. I don't really like meat. But I knew in that moment, he was just saying it to impress me, which was really weird, because like literally a couple of days later, he left a group chat because someone said something about eating a pork sandwich and he felt like he was talking about him. So yeah, anyway, So I've obviously explained to him that I don't really eat meat like that. Like 2 days after that, he's met me somewhere and asked him to bring me a sandwich because there was nowhere around me for me to get food. And I asked him when he was on his way, what sandwich did you get me? And he said chicken and sweet corn. And I said, I said I don't really eat meat, but it's calm. I'll have the sandwich anyway. And that is what I mean by they'll make you question and doubt your own needs. I didn't want to eat chicken because I needed something to give me energy. I'm operating on little sleep. It's high energy work. But I do know what I'm trying to say, actually. Let's not do that. I think I just need to take a deep breath. It's like within a split moment, I was willing to compromise the thing that I actually needed because that's all he had available, as opposed to saying, do you know what, that's actually not what I want, you have that sandwich, I'll just figure out something else to eat. And that's the level of confidence that I want to have and that I know will take me out of being in limerence, because it's like, if I am clear with myself about what it is that I desire, when someone brings something to me that's not that, I can say no because I trust that it's gonna come true. If I know what I want but I doubt that it can happen, then I'm gonna let someone come in and present something to me and I'm gonna say, oh, that's not really what I wanted, but do you know what, I don't even know how I'm gonna get that, so let me just settle for this. And this is where a lot of people do settle. This is where you have so many things of like, I feel like the pressure. Oh, this was the part that I forgot to speak about, but maybe I'll do it at the end. But where limerence can come from, how we get into limerence in the first place, pressure from society of women have to be in relationships and all of these things can be the reason why you do that. I literally just saw this thread where this girl said, her boyfriend thought she was asleep, so he was freestyling and cussing her out, and it got to the fourth beat when she woke up and she shut it down. And I'm like, wait, but if he, in a moment of being upset with you, is gonna diss you, because he wasn't just saying, oh, she's upset me. He was saying something like, she's cross-eyed with her glasses on, and very disrespectful things. How do you wake up from your fake sleep and be like, hey, we're not doing that, and then go back into being in a relationship? This is someone who doesn't respect you, but she probably wants to be with someone. She probably wants a partner. But I'm sure that she wants a partner who loves and respects her. But because in her mind, maybe she doesn't believe that that kind of person exists, or maybe she doesn't believe that she deserves that kind of partner or anything like that. And it will be because of a lot of the stuff that's online as well. But also things that we just hear growing up. And so she's settling for that kind of treatment and behavior. And yeah, it's just not very good. And so my example of this is in 2020, I actually quit Cultured Ways. And I shut down. I'd been doing really well since I'd started. Because remember, I only started in 2019. So it's like after a year, after like a year and 2 months, I quit. I deleted my website permanently. I deleted my Instagram page permanently. It's not even like I deactivated or something. I permanently deleted my YouTube channel. And in that moment, I was like, I don't think business is for me. And it was because I was scared of the exposure. I was scared to be seen. I was scared of success and all of these things. But also, my dad had a discussion with me about paying for his house deposit. And bearing in mind, I'm at uni, so I didn't really have the money for that. And that's how I put a lot of pressure on myself to do other things. So I shut down my business and I started doing a lot of fraud with this guy who I was friends with. And then some way in between that, we were spending all that time together and he would stay at mine and we started sleeping together. But we weren't actually together. And in that moment, that's why that whole situation just shows me how much I was settling. I was settling for the financial opportunity that was being presented to me, because I felt like I couldn't make the kind of money that I needed to make from business in the time span that I wanted it. I think I didn't have patience and understanding, and I didn't trust that things will work out for me. And then also in the relationship thing of like, I knew I didn't want him to be my partner. So every time he asked me to be his girlfriend, I said no. But then I would still treat him like my boyfriend, and I would still want him to be around and all of these things. And it's actually kind of mad, because I went through so much in that relationship, and it was only after like the infidelity and an STI that I was like, do you know what? Fuck this. Actually, I didn't even leave after that. So before the infidelity and the STI, which was probably going on the whole entire time, because he said, when I told him that I'd been tested and I had chlamydia, he said that he had been tested, and this happened in April. He said that he had got tested in the summer before, and we'd started sleeping together in November. So it's like, this person isn't even taking care of themselves. And why was I with someone like that? I don't know. But what was I gonna say? So even before the infidelity thing, there was a night where so obviously I was doing fraud with him, but he wasn't actually doing anything. He just knew the people that we was doing it with, and so he would take money through that. There was a night when I got a phone call from his cousin saying that my partner had invited him out for food and taken my card out to pay. And I'm like, what are you talking about? My card should be in my purse, in my drawer. Check my drawer and it's not there. And in that moment, I don't even know if I brought it up to him. I think I did, and he just gave me some random excuse, yeah. And I still didn't leave. And it's because I think I just wanted people around me. I think I felt alone at that time. And also, I'm not gonna lie, his behavior and his treatment, like, it sounds wild now that I'm speaking about it, but that was normal to me, because that's the kind of dynamics that I'd seen my dad be in. And so, me knowing that I want to be in a relationship, a committed relationship, or even at that time, I didn't even want to be in a relationship. I wanted it to be a thing where, like, this thing is going on between us, but no one really knows. So when we're around the mandem, we're all mandem, we're all laughing, Like, I'm not being funny. Our friends only found out after the fact of what was actually going on there. Like, they all had their own preconceptions, and he also did his own fabrications as well to create this image and blah, 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 blah. But let's be honest, he wasn't going to tell, I was 22 and he was 26. He wasn't going to tell his friends, oh yeah, she's literally paying for my life right now. So, yeah. But in that moment of quitting my business to do that with him, it's because I didn't have faith and belief in myself and in my own dreams. And if I did, I know for sure I wouldn't have done that. But I needed to be where I am and who I am today. So I'm not even mad about it. And it got to the point of, like, I was going further and further and deep. Like, we had madnesses going on in and out of the house. And I was about to invest in something that would have been a huge risk financially, on my freedom, on just everything that I was trying to do. Like, being at uni, starting a business, all of those things. And then I realised I actually bumped into someone, and a 30-second encounter, not 30 seconds, like a 3-minute encounter with that person made me realise, hey, why am I even tolerating this nonsense? And that was how I left that situation. But it did take a lot of, like, me realising I can do this on my own. And do you know what's so funny? In the order that we did it in, yeah, so I did it self-love with the guy who made me hit the shot, body positivity with trying to prove my worth to someone, and then confidence with the guy that I basically quit my business to do F with. That wasn't the order of the relationships. The order of the relationships was actually quitting my business to do F with the guy. Then I started my business again, and I got into the relationship with the guy who guilted me into... Oh, so I doubted myself, and I ended up in that situation. Then I stopped doubting myself, and I allowed someone to guilt trip me. and I wasn't loving myself. Then I started to love myself. But then I felt like I needed to prove myself because maybe I wasn't loving myself then. Feeling good enough as who you are. Oh, I get it now. Because I gained the ability to choose myself, I didn't feel good about it because of how everyone around me was responding. Because when you start to choose yourself, people who was benefiting from you, from that manipulation, they're not going to be happy at all. And so, yeah. That was my experience with Limerance. I hope that this... Oh, AI summarized my life as sharing a story about creating a business and a toxic relationship. I guess you could say that. But we're back anyway. And the waist bead is done. And so the last thing that I'm going to kind of discuss is about like limerence and how to identify where it's coming from. In all of these things that I went through, there was the part of me, there was the internal limerence, the internal causes of limerence, of me not seeing myself as valuable, me feeling like I needed something to make me complete and whole. Then there's the external influences of limerence, and that was like my family. Everyone used to say like, oh, I bet Ebony's gonna wait till she's 30 to have kids. And I'm like, what is wrong with that? Like, my mum had me at 17, so I was never in a rush, but I've had baby fever since I was 15. And all this like talk of like women are supposed to get married. I've even heard someone say to their daughter before, yeah, when you finish uni, then you find a husband and that's it. So you just go to school for the certificate so that you can feel accomplished, but you're not actually allowed to achieve anything, was like the messaging, and I didn't like it. So there's the external influence of how women are told by their family members, maybe by their friends and their peers, to value relationships. And so they can get into relationships not because they wanted to be in one, but because it's what they've been told they're supposed to do. And then the third one is like society. And I'd say it kind of stems off of the like the influence of your family, but oftentimes or not, whether you have a toxic family or a healthy family, your family want you to be loved. Like, people want you to not be alone and things like that. Maybe they don't understand the intricacies of it, which is why they'll encourage you to be with someone who's toxic because they have money, or they'll encourage you to stay in a situation because of this or because of that. But when it comes to the society one, I feel like it's what they say about you if you choose not to do that. So if we look at the media and propaganda and things like that, for centuries, any woman who decided that she wasn't gonna go down the traditional route, or any woman who did stand up for her values against men, whether it was in the workplace, in her family, at home, like, they were shamed for it. I just watched an interview of Miley Cyrus saying how she felt really bad when she was dancing half naked and posing nude and all of these things because of how it made everyone else feel, because her younger siblings were embarrassed to go to school and she couldn't look her dad in the eye and all of these things. And I get it from the sake of like wanting to protect your family, but then also the shame that they're feeling is based on external validation. If we actually focus on the fact that this is a woman who's empowering herself and giving herself permission to do those things, and she stopped because of how uncomfortable it made everybody else, that's not liberation. That's not freedom. That's not giving her permission to take up space. There's people in the comments saying, oh, this is accountability, glad she found sense and things like that. She didn't find sense, she shrunk. And the world is so used to making women shrink, I'm just not standing for it. So yeah, that is my discussion about limerence. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, whether you was on the live or whether you joined us on the replay on YouTube. Like I said, we have the limerence blog post, which I'm going to put in the YouTube description. We have custom beads available on Pinterest. Every month we'll be releasing 50 new beads, so look out for those. We have the waist bead workshop on the 17th of April, and we'll also have another workshop coming soon. And I'm going to try and do some workshops in Coventry, so stay tuned for that. And then we have a new not a new catalog, we have a new collection of waist beads coming to TikTok shop soon, which is the crystals. And if you want to know more about our affiliate program and how you can make 15% commissions on our waist beads and share our message of growing in self-love, body positivity and confidence, then make sure you check out our video about our affiliate program, which I will make sure to link up at the end of the screen. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.